our takeaways were that, probably a little bit like 2 weeks ago, we were very impressed with how clean the building was when we went through. Like we said, we didn't know if they did that extra special because we were coming tonight, but that was impressive. And then our biggest things were the big question mark was the courtyard. Its non-utilization. It looks like it could be a very useful spot for if you put whatever would work there, whether it be classrooms or something, that then other areas could be repurposed for storage and such.
Understood. Yeah.
That was that, and the girls' locker rooms. We were also surprised that they're hardly used.
Okay. So utilization of those.
Yeah, I don't know if that's kind of a requirement, I think, for students, but if they're not going to use them, then use it for something else, because they weren't being used. So that was it.
All right. We'll go clockwise here.
Go ahead. We have the same thing.
We thought that the juggling of spaces was good. The staff realizes we don't need this classroom for this use, we're going to use it for something else, so they're using, we thought that the trade space was good and the tech ed, as long as they're keeping up with what the future needs might be. We thought it might be good to go through, if there's space issues, maybe purge some items, kind of go through and see, well, what are we using, what's old, what can be replaced. We were wondering what Silverbrook used, how they redid their courtyard.
Okay.
If there were ideas for this one here. And then the lobby was very large over by the auditorium. So maybe if that doesn't need to be so large, use some of that room.
Yeah, and courtyards, keep in mind, are really oftentimes ways when we put additions on the buildings that we can maintain natural light in our classrooms, right? Otherwise we get very dense. And there are a lot of benefits to that. Not to undermine any of the utilization, because I think you're absolutely right.
Did Silverbrook keep their courtyard?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up for you. But there are other things we can do, so that's certainly good feedback. Anything else from you guys? No? Okay.
I know in Europe, you were talking about the rooms for the counselors. They hold that in storage pods because they don't want to be in there. There's not going to be a lot. It's just using space to have a meeting, and they make that work. So
like mobile storage units?
Well, I'm just saying I didn't see anything really wrong with the space that they had. It's cozy, it's worked in years past.
So you felt like the guidance and counseling space was adequate?
I did.
Okay.
It worked for me.
Okay. All right, you guys?
Well, we'll start with positives that we saw. We were impressed with the nifty nibble. It was nice and clean in there. And then we thought the accommodations in the auditorium were terrific. Very impressive facility there. Then also we were impressed with the equipment that students have access to in the tech ed classrooms. That was pretty cool. Some of the challenges that we saw, we could definitely see that things were, as mentioned, cozy, and so, like the arts and some of the tech ed rooms. We didn't really think it seemed overwhelming in terms of a challenge, but we could definitely tell though that it was packed in there. Then also challenge determine better utilization of the courtyard space. It does definitely see the point of having light coming in, but could it be better utilized for anything? Who knows? But yeah, so that was something that we saw as a challenge. And then one of the we kind of wrestled with, it says here, what are items in the most need of improvement? We kind of wrestled with that word need, wants tos versus gots tos. But we definitely could, we know the trend of where the economy is going, so it's hard for us to not admit that there may be something that could be done in the tech ed rooms or the metal shop welding. Obviously those classes are capacity, and if companies want to donate machinery, that's kind of cool.
But workforce that's not going to disappear anytime soon. We're always going to need auto tech.
But we were. I think I can say safely for our group here, we were kind of lukewarm on storage being as big of an issue. So.
All right, we'll go to the back room.
The auditorium was really impressive. Some of the challenges we saw were locker rooms, and the same with, the smaller tech ed, but yet the, the school district offering that is such a good thing too. And the art rooms were really small.
Small, yeah.
You know anything else?
I was always wondering why we had two libraries. You know, we share the auditorium, we share the field houses, we share other areas. A library seems like an area that would be a really good shared thing, and it will free up. There's a lot of wasted spaces around.
You should be here when there's students in here. There's just no way you can.
I know, I'm just saying, this was our point of view now. Why couldn't the libraries make one of them bigger? But I didn't understand why we had to duplicate that expensive situation. And also, I'm wondering, are there class size caps for those tech classrooms? And, I mean, there must be a certain allotted, you can only have so many students in an area like that.
Yep, so one of the things we were gonna bring back for the next meeting for you was a bit more of a understanding of utilization of the building. So how often are each of the classrooms being used, and with that, how many students per, right? And so that tech ed, obviously a lot of great equipment and a lot of space dedicated to that, but it was pretty tight. Really appropriate clearances between equipment for movement of materials and safety. We probably could use a little more square footage in there to allow some of that to function. Usually we'd see a bit more transparency and connection even between the trades, okay? So we can start to blend those together a little bit more. And so a lot of great things there, but I think as noted, there's probably some enhancements that could be done to
But they have to limit how many students they can have in that room, right?
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
So that cuts down on how many kids.
Yep, I'm sure it's a balance of, obviously trying to get as many students that want to take that class, the opportunity to take it, with a safety factor of how many, students a single teacher can manage, in a given
Because
space.
we were in that room, it was very hot in that room, and I can't imagine with all
Yep.
those machines running
Yep.
and a lot of bodies in there,
Yep.
how,
Sure.
I'm thinking it's quite unsafe.
Yeah, well, let us for the next meeting bring back a little more information on that. Any else, before I jump back, anything else from you guys? Okay, great, thank you.
I forgot one thing I wanted to ask about. We didn't see the Sky Garden, which is just down the hall here across the way. I'm not sure how that could be better utilized. My recollection from when I was here 8 million years ago was it was just basically a room that just was as long as the field house. It was just empty. So.
He said that they would set it up now for gymnastics, and it would be the gymnastics till March.
Oh, okay.
Spring, yeah, so all the gymnastic equipment will stay set up there. Outside of that, the rest of the summer into the start of the school year, I'm sure they take it down.
After that, I know that softball is
Baseball goes up there.
Probably have nets that drop down.
They
And,
can't
yep.
go outside.
They do winter baseball workouts in there, don't they still do Phi-Ed classes in there and such too?
I'm asking as a band student.
Fair enough, fair enough. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sure. Nothing overly earth-shattering different. Positives, I was impressed with the tech ed offerings, or we were impressed. The auditorium and the new music areas looked very nice. We also noticed the cleanliness of the building. Nifty Nibble is something I hadn't been in before, and we thought that was kind of cool. We were impressed with the overall space utilization and the creativity that's involved and using what you have. And, like in the athletic training area, well, we're going to look and try to go to this other office and move this around. And that's great. You try to do the best you can. I think that leads into some of the challenges. Yes, you can have a lot of equipment and junk littered around your school. It's okay, but it's probably not the best. We saw that in the art room. We saw that in the south gym. You saw it in the main gym. You saw it in the tech ed areas. Counseling area, I don't know if it's too small or not, but in general, it looked like a lot of the areas where people are working all day, a counselor, an administrator, a trainer, those areas are very small. Many are unlit. They're not ideal. I think they're probably functional, but I wouldn't want to be in there all day. Okay.
So the one thing we weren't able to get to tonight was a presentation on kind of spaces that enhance teaching and learning. That was on the agenda. We just obviously ran out of time tonight. So what we'll do is craft that to help maybe present some of the space types that we're talking about. I'd love for you guys to see some examples of some recently completed STEM or tech ed spaces, just so you can kind of get a sense of what some other school districts are doing in comparison. Same with some libraries and some of the other areas that we're looking at. So we'll have that ready for the next presentation.
I think you guys summarized